Yo, what's poppin', everybody? It is your boy Krista back again with another Monster Hunter Wilds just discussion video. So today I just kind of want to talk about what we know for sure about Monster Hunter Wilds, just because we've gone from knowing nothing to knowing a lot in the span of like 2 weeks. So to begin with, let's hop into the website. So as you can see, we've got the website pulled up. Now we've got the introduction here, just showing, a dynamic, ever-changing environments, the story of monsters and humans in a world with two faces, one in which the lands are harsh and unforgiving, and one where monsters fight for the scant resources, and another in which the lands are vibrant and brimming with life. You play as a professional hunter, protecting the balance of the ecosystem and hunting monsters. Use the resources you gain from hunts to craft ever more powerful weapons and armor in your quest to unravel the mysteries of the new land. Experience the most evolved action and improved immersion in any Monster Hunter to date. So that's kind of like the mission statement of the game, I guess. So we have a living world. We actually see a few monsters that don't have names yet. Specifically, well, there's this little crocodile thing, and then there's these raptor bird wyvern, which we see these as well, having a turf war with Chotacabra, but we'll get back to that later. So, as we know, is that they specifically mention hunting locales. So, I know that a lot of people were questioning whether Monster Hunter Wilds would be open world or not, and them specifically bringing up hunting locales on the website makes me think that is not the case, but rather the locales are going to be much more open. So like it's going to be kind of like Pokemon Legends Arceus, where like each locale is going to be like a small open segment, rather than how it is currently in like World and Rise, where it's like corridors and areas that have like specific, like corridors that lead to specific areas that you fight in. So I think that's kind of what they're trying to show. Because I mean, like, you don't really see any kind of stuff like that in the trailers. And then they also bring up monster herds, where we see those raptors fighting with Chotacabra, and you see that, like, there are going to be herds of monsters that you will have to deal with. The secrets. The secret is actually kind of interesting because, so it's kind of like the Palamute. It's the Palamute basically kind of reworked. So you still ride on it, you can still use items on its back, but you can also change your weapon. So I definitely am interested in seeing like how that will play into things. Whether people are gonna like gunners, they might bring 2 different bow guns that like rapid fire are good with different ammo types. I could totally see that. And then we also see the first locale that we know of, and it is confirmed to be the first one that you will visit, the Windward Plains. And we still do see, like, we don't see any of these like specific areas and corridors. Like, that's the closest thing that we see there in this image, but you don't see them like at all, which is pretty big. So here in hunting, we see that hunting action is bigger than ever, new moves, huge variety of weapons and equipment, and more ways to use monsters and environments to your advantage. So all 14 weapon types are back, which is good. Like, I didn't expect any weapons to get cut, but confirmation that none are is always good. And then focus mode. So if we go to the PlayStation blog from when this first came out, we see in focus mode, hunters will have more precise control over how they guard, aim, and attack in order to target monsters' weak points for big damage. Focus mode makes it easier to adjust your distance from the monster and aim your attacks, making the distinctive Monster Hunter hunting action more accessible to a wide variety of players, and some weapons will feature distinctive moves that can only be used in this mode. So that's kind of huge, knowing that. So what I'm reading this as is that focus mode will essentially, like, you know how Gunlance has that mode where you can more easily aim the Wyvern's fire. That's kind of what I'm expecting here, where like they'll have that but for like more attacks. And of course we also see that we actually also see here that there are going to be some focus mode specific attacks. Or maybe certain attacks will have different effects in focus mode. Because like as we see here, we see the overhead swing from the greatsword in focus mode. It seemingly has a counter effect. So whether that's just an effect of the move, or it is just or if it is like a focus mode specific thing, then that's still yet to see, but it is a big deal. Then of course the Slinger's back, which I wasn't expecting the Slinger to come back, but like, you know, I'm fine with that as long as there's no Clutch Claw. I feel like that's how most people are. But you can use the Slinger to interact with the environment just like you could in Monster Hunter World. And the Hook Slinger essentially allows you to collect items from a distance, which is a big deal. But moving on to characters, with, you know, this beautiful woman of Gemma. That we see the hunter. You're assigned to the Forbidden Lands Research Commission. Their job is to explore the region. Palico, which I still do not know how I feel about the Palico talking. I will not lie. A feline cat-like creature, fully capable of speaking with people, which, like, they've always been able to speak with people, but, like, it's always been in meows. I'm not sure how I feel about them actually talking. So, Alma, one of the first named characters that we see, is the handler, so she'll be taking care of all your quests, and I assume that she'll also be, like, the person you go to get, like updates for your Monsterpedia and Large Monster Encyclopedia, so she's who I assume you'll speak to when you need to deal with, like, your Monsterpedia or like quests as well. Gemma is a more interesting character, because if we go back to the first trailer, if we go to this scene right here, go frame by frame, we can see that she is wearing the same jacket as the Carabiner from Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. And she also has a stuffed Puke, which, canonically, the Guildmarm from Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate makes plushies of certain monsters. So, and it also just so happens that in 4 Ultimate, you recruit a blonde-haired blacksmith in the form of Little Miss Forge. So, I feel like it is fairly likely that the Guildmarm and Little Miss Forge are the same person, just older. But you know what? Good for her. And then finally we have Nata, who we don't have much official information yet, but you can see in the second trailer that he seemingly has ties to the village near the end of the trailer. Because we see him running around in it, you know, getting protected by the hunter. But also, something else to point out is that you see these like weird bulges on like the top of their hoods. If we skip a little bit further, we see a little bit too far, I think. We see someone who appears to have horns. So whether this is Nata or whoever this is, Which, like, I saw this on Twitter. I'll put a link to everything to like all the Twitter posts that I'm pulling from in the description. But so this one on Twitter, which this is kind of huge because we haven't gotten a new race in Monster Hunter since 4 Ultimate with the Trovarians. So whether this is actually a new race or something else entirely, we don't know yet. Additionally, there is one other character that we see who is still currently unnamed, but he is a, unnamed hunter who appears to have an insect glaive. I can't really tell. But we see him, running through this quest as well. So this could be a hint that follower quests could return in some way, which would be very cool to see. But something else is interesting is that up to this point, all the secrets have looked the same. His is the first secret to have different feather colors. So this could also show that secrets will be customizable. Which, like, I figured they kind of would be, but up to this point, like, in the first trailer as well, when the hunter fires the SOS flare, all the hunters have identical looking secrets. So that just wasn't something that I was sure about. So seeing that, I feel more comfortable saying that secrets will be customizable. Finally, we're moving on to the monsters. So, which, is the biggest part of Monster Hunter. So we're actually going to go from the bottom up. So first up, Chatacabra. It is an amphibian who uses saliva to fix stone and other materials to its forelimbs, similar to Garangold. So it's cool to see like some of these mechanics coming back from other monsters that may not be in the game. Doshaguma is a fanged beast who I'm guessing is going to kind of be like this game's Anjanath, where it's like a later game, where it's like mid-tier kind of difficult monster that's going to be like your first wall. But something else that's actually kind of interesting is that, as we see in the first trailer, the Doshaguma seemingly there's like a leader of the pack that has red fur, and then the rest of them are smaller with tan fur. So I don't know if those smaller ones are like a small monster version of it, or if it's, or what it is. It's something that's definitely worth like questioning, as we're moving on. Like maybe it could be something similar to the Great Azuchi, where there are going to be like a smaller like group of them always following the pack leader. And then finally we have the most interesting of the new monsters, Balahara. So it is a desert-dwelling leviathan that will create quicksand traps as well as spit goop from its weird-looking mouth. So as we can see it in action, it swims through the sand with a twisting motion similar to Agnaktor from Monster Hunter Tri and 3 Ultimate. This was pointed out by Twitter user Midnight Boshi, where as we can see, it has a very similar like swim digging animation to Agnaktor. Additionally, in the trailer, like later on when we see it fighting, I don't know if it's just the lighting, but it almost looks like its body glows in certain, like its underbelly glows red in a few moments, like right here. I don't know if it's just the lighting, it might just be, but perhaps this could be connected to it being enraged. Maybe it'll have like another mode later on in the fights where its underbelly starts glowing. I'm not sure, but it is an interesting thing to think about. And we also do see it turf warring with with Doshugama later on in the trailer right here. And then finally we have the most interesting of the new monsters. The unnamed, appearingly flagship. I'm guessing this is the flagship monster. But there's a few really good drawings that I've seen, like kind of showing like a few fan interpretations of it, and I'll post those on screen here. But as you can see, it has a thunder sack, and it seemingly has horns that it can reposition. As we can see, we see those lower horns moving right there. And then after it does this attack, we can see as its top horns also reposition. So my guess is that it will constantly build up electricity, and it will put its horns together for certain attacks, including this giant railgun move through the fight. And then, like, a few other things that are worth talking about is that according to the official Monster Hunter Twitter account, crossplay is confirmed. Now, whether that's crossplay and cross-save, I do not know, but this is already just a massive win. Like, everyone was hoping for crossplay with Sunbreak, but that just never happened. So it is definitely very cool to see. But I think that's everything that I want to talk about. So there are some very, very interesting... This game is looking very, very interesting, you know, the more we know about it. And we're confirmed to be getting another trailer in 2 months at Gamescom. So by then, hopefully we'll have a release date and we'll see some more returning monsters. But I mean, of the few monsters that we know about so far, this is looking very, very promising. But I'm gonna go ahead and call this one here. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, alright, so I recorded the first part of this video yesterday, and since then, not only have people who were at Summer Games Fest, like Maximilian Dude here, not only have they gotten back and talked about the demo that was, the hands-off demo that was there, but an IGN interview came out. And so the links to both will be in the description. I highly recommend you read through the full interview and watch this whole video by Maximilian Dude. It really goes into a lot of detail. What I've got here are just like bullet point highlights from both. So we're gonna start with the IGN interview. The first big thing is that the game is generally more like Monster Hunter World than Rise, and that largely comes down to the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X having more power to work with than the Switch. They're being made with those in mind, so there's more power to work with and just more you can do with that console. Additionally, the interview asked if Gemma and Little Miss Forge are connected, which is something that I brought up earlier. And in the interview, they kind of dodged the question by just saying, you know, you have to play the game to figure out for yourself, basically. Palicos. The reason why they're talking now with, like, proper voice work is because of how much information there is that you can get from any given hunt, both from the Palico and Alma. However, there is an option to switch back to the meows of the old games. The biggest news to me is that both bowguns are receiving pretty big changes. And the hunting horn is also going back to kind of more of the Monster Hunter World style than the Rise style. Co-op story multiplayer is more similar to Monster Hunter World, where there's going to be a few things that you have to see in solo mode, but it'll be easier to connect with other people after you get through the story part. So that does it for the IGN interview. Now we've got the video made by Maximilian Dude, and it's 20 minutes long, so there's a lot of information here. I'm only going to be talking about a few, like, kind of standout things to me. So one of the first things that Max talks about is that there are seamless area transitions from the hub to the hunting locale. So, according to Max, rather than there being a traditional quest board or quest list, you select the monster you want to hunt, and then it will give you quests for that monster, which is a huge difference. According to Max, it looks like their mantles are back because there's a new mechanic called a sneak attack, where before a monster notices you, you can get in a powerful attack to start the hunt. Additionally, along those lines, world-style mounting is back, and the clash that we see at the end of the first trailer is a big mechanic for the game as well. So Max said that he heard that the locales in the game were 2 to 3 times bigger than Monster Hunter World, which is insane to me. Like some of those locales just feel massive. So knowing that they are multitudes bigger is just wild to think about. We kind of see this in the trailer, but Max also confirms that there are going to be alphas for the packs of monsters that you fight. So you have to separate the alphas from the rest of the pack to hunt them easier. During the hunt, you will actually get warnings about when dangerous weather is incoming, likely also coming from the Palico and Alma, like the interview mentioned. Also, according to Max, there are a ton of large monsters on the map at any given time. Like, he says that you open up the map and you just see, like, Doshigama everywhere. Now, this might have just been for the demo, but according to Max, offline SOS flayers will summon 3 NPC hunters to help you for the quest. When you finish the quest, you stay in the hunting locale, similar to an expedition, but you still do get a quest complete screen and an item pickup. According to Max, there are still going to be 4-player online questing, so the bones of Monster Hunter are still going to be the same, though there's a huge new coat of paint. And the last thing that Max did say is that the game did have a few performance issues, like a few crashes, but that just gives me and other people hope that, like, you know, this is a real game doing all this stuff, and not just a not just like something put together to make the game look good. So yeah, before this went out, like, I was literally about to get it all edited down and uploaded, but yeah, I was literally about to get the main video edited and uploaded, but then I woke up and saw all this came out. So I wanted to attach this on to the main video as well. So this time for real, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, you all know what to do. Have yourselves a damn good one. Later.